I wasn't sure where to start today, Scott, but I did want to touch on this. Pierre Poilievre saying support for Quebec separation was wiped out under Stephen Harper's government, and now says polls show the movement has had already support for decades. The Tory leader insists separatist sentiment in both Alberta and Quebec is being driven by the Liberals and their policies. Help me out here. What's he going on about?
Well, you'll remember that that Garden of Eden time when Pierre Poilievre sat in the caucus, Stephen Harper was prime minister. The government supported things like a carbon price. Hard to believe. Yes, actually, Stephen Harper supported a carbon price. But anyway, we'll leave that part out of Aesop's fables here. And at that time, separatism had been stamped out. It had been eradicated. It had been eliminated because of the brilliant leadership of Stephen Harper. Look, I actually have a lot of respect for Stephen Harper. He beat my old boss in the 2006 election. You wouldn't think I would be a natural fan, but I have a fair amount of respect for the stability, for the flexibility showed during the 2009 financial crisis. But this is a ludicrous thing to say. This is insane. The Fickies, they won an election in 2012, right? In 2009, Harper, his government nearly ended because of a parliamentary coalition in the House of Commons that included the BQ. Like, he could have been a footnote to history. This notion that there was no separatist sentiment whatsoever happening in Quebec, much less Alberta, while Stephen Harper was prime minister, it's ridiculous. And what does it have to do anyway with the moment that we're in? It kind of reflects this weird psychology of Poilievre's, always looking in the rearview mirror, right? Like, never talking about the present or the future. Like, what is he on about, to quote you, right? Like, what is he on about? What's his point? Where does he think he's going? Who does he think he's convincing? He aspires to a past that didn't exist in order to what? Suggest a future that will never occur? Fantastic. There you go. There's your campaign, buddy.
I just don't, Mark, as it turns out, Scott, Mark Carney's the most popular politician in Quebec right now. I don't understand, why he dredges this up, what the point of this is.
The most benign, the most charitable characterization of this is that he has decided that he's playing the long game, that he knows that Carney is popular right now, that he knows that he's being bested, but he is betting that Carney will not be able to deliver on the big promises, that there will not be progress, that economic alienation will continue to occur across the country. And so he's laying these things down now and saying it's all Carney's fault, not because he thinks people believe it now, but because he believes that if he says it now, by the time of the next election, people will come around to that.
Is he aware that there was a $10 billion funding announcement made by the federal government to Quebec just yesterday?
No, I'll bet you he's not, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And so, not only is Carney the most popular federal politician in Quebec, he's the most popular federal politician in Alberta. Like, go figure that. So it's actually not Poilievre, right? So, look, my view on political communications is real simple. Start with something that people believe, and then build off of that. He consistently tells people that every sparrow that falls from the sky is the fault of Mark Carney. That separatism was eradicated until Mark Carney came along. That Alberta would be enthusiastic in its participation in Canada were it not for Mark Carney. These things look like politics at a time when people say, I don't want that partisan BS. We got this lunatic in the White House who's coming at us with both barrels, so we have to rise above a bit, and he demonstrates no capacity to rise above.
All right, let me turn to Danielle Smith, a big meeting today with Christine Frechette, and I will just tell you, at some point, we've been having fun with this all afternoon. Did you hear how she framed the names of the two countries?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In case you didn't hear, it is.
What's it? Queberta?
Yeah, here you go.
Am I saying it right?
Go ahead, Brian.
Queberta,
yeah. And we're saying, I think that may be the worst name I've ever heard. We're asking listeners to come up with better iterations if they can. But Look, what's the point of this? And I asked this question earlier. Okay, you're having a meeting with the Premier of Quebec. Who are you sending a message to here?
Yeah, listen, I had Queberta for a while, but good news, pills and cream cleared right up. And I think it's all bananas. Who's she talking to? I don't know. I think, she's trying to demonstrate that, she can reach across provincial boundaries. I think in a weird way, she might be trying to say, see, I am going to campaign for the federal side. I am going to try to knit together a kind of a national play. But her strategy isn't to confirm that the project of Canada is a sound one. It's to say, I want to align with people who are equally dubious of Canada.
Yeah.
And from the provincial capitals, we will try to knit together something better in spite of these lunatics in Ottawa. I don't know. I mean, it would be better if she had a separatist premier, I guess, to meet with. And Fréchette isn't, all the way there. So it just felt a little forced and awkward to me.
As it did to me. Again, it's funny you say reach across provincial barriers. She can't even reach across the Manitoba barrier because, of course, we know how Wab Kinew feels about her.
Well, he, absolutely just, slammed her across the tennis net the other day. And so, and I can't remember if you and I talked about this last week, but I've said this a couple times. I think one of the unexpected byproducts of moving forward in the way she is now, triggering the formal vote, is that people are no longer willing to just shrug their shoulders and let her say stuff. People are calling her on her BS now. And, I got to believe that a lot of people in Quebec today were looking at it going who is this alien and what language is she talking?
Queberta. And then I want to get to the last story today is the one, and we talked about this earlier as well. I had Rachel Aiello here from CTV. So Jameson Greer, who's the lead U.S. trade representative here, today we find out that the U.S. has decided, we're going to drop this whole fentanyl thing, which never really took hold, and we're instead going to introduce tariffs to, I think, 60 countries were mentioned in this, Scott, including Canada, with a potential new 10% tariff here. So we can, I guess, do our part to filter out forced labor in our supply chain. And I heard the Prime Minister say we kind of knew this was coming. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, I think we did kind of know it was coming because they're going back to their playbook. Those, what they call the Section 122 tariffs, are struck down by the courts, saying, look, your arguments are nonsense. You don't have the authority to do this. So now they go, okay, well, then we will invent now another allegation that gives us the legal authority. That's what they're looking for, a legal loophole that allows them to impose these tariffs. So what makes sense? What meets the precedent? Okay, well, forced labor, because as we know, just in Vaudreuil is filled with warehouses, small Vietnamese children wiring together sweaters to be sold in the wilds of Ontario. It's such a ridiculous, transparent play, and so I think we go through the motions. We'll say, okay, by the way, these things don't take effect right away, but I also think that this doesn't really work for Trump anymore. He's exhausting himself. The bigger play to me this week was when he dropped the tariffs on aluminum and steel. That to me is a tell. This is posturing. This is, he's roostering around the yard with this announcement today. The true thing is he dropped tariffs. And the reason he did it is that he knows he's in political trouble at home. That's all he cares about, is his ass in the fryer. And the answer is, yes, it is. So he drops those tariffs. He peacocks about these ones. But ultimately, just wait this stuff out. We'll go through the motions, say, yeah, here's our argument back. But it ain't going to happen. And his hand is only going to weaken politically between now and November.
Do you think this idea of coincidentally Canada telling, or the CRTC being told today or advised today, this idea of, taking 15% from American net streamers here and saying, go back and take a look at this again. Do you think that was coincidental?
No, I don't think it was coincidental. I think that decision was probably always primed for political correction because it came from the regulator. I don't think it was something the PMO welcomed because it is adding another irritant, to the relationship. When if you're if you're the prime minister, you're constantly trying to weigh, like, how far can I push him? How far do I have to correct? I hated it when he used that mega line last week. I did not like that. I thought he was bending over too much for the Americans. Today, I do think that made sense. Don't own that thing. And if you're going to call America and go, hey, listen, that wasn't our decision, that was a regulator, then you're pretty much obligated to say, let's have a review of it. That being said, someone's got to rein in these SOBs that run like these wireless giants that cross borders and just crush us all and run our lives and raise $1.7 trillion on the market. So, like, it would be nice if someone tried to stop them before, it's literally impossible to stop them, and hell runs our lives.
Oh, my. All right, Scott, we'll leave it at that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't mean to be too pessimistic.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's the end of the world. Don't worry, and it's Netflix's fault. No, that's fine. I think that's accurate. Scott,
well, have you seen some of their rom-coms? I mean, literally, it does make you want to step off a water tower.
Yeah, but they're going to have a Peter Frampton documentary on tomorrow, so there you go. Just saying.
Okay.
Have a good one.
All right.
Pride is like love. You feel it in your heart. iHeartRadio, Canada's #1 streaming app for radio and podcasts, including iHeart Pride Canada, your favorite hits, and must-have party bangers, plus personalized and curated playlists like Back in the Day Pride.
Come together, celebrate love.
Take Pride with you, anytime, anywhere. Just ask your smart speaker to play iHeart Pride Canada. Stream us on your phone or listen now at iHeartRadio.ca.